Average and Best Cornhole here. This video is going to be a little different than normal. So what happened was at the start of the 2024 season, Black Sheep Baggers, they had a release of The Sentence. We found a set. We got a set of the special limited edition Halloween bags. Never really did anything with them because we were waiting to get another Black Sheep Baggers bag to, compare. And then it went obsolete because they came out with this relaunch edition.
Yep.
So ultimately we had to pick up a set of these relaunch editions. And this video, we're basically just going to be describing what the differences are and why we think that those differences are there.
So just to touch on that availability, obviously the original sentences are no longer available. Completely redesigned, so we're only looking at the relaunch edition, which now they've been out for a little while, so there's plenty of sentences available on their website. You're just not going to see any with the relaunch edition badge that we see here unless you're finding some old stock from somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're basically calling them sentences with RTR in parentheses or something. So those are the only ones available. We're going to jump right into the cost. And for these bags, they're getting a 1.5 bagger, right?
Yeah.
So the sentence were $89.99, and then the relaunch sentence were $109.99.
$20.
For a relaunch. I don't get that in the same season.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We weren't too excited about that. They were under $100 mark we like, but now they're above the $100 mark that we don't like. So,
which is super confusing because you see we got, the Friday the 13th ones there, and those are, limited edition bags to begin with, and they're considerably cheaper than the now common bag of the relaunch. So, wasn't very happy to see that.
No.
A little company information, how you find these guys. They have their website, blacksheepbaggers.com. They have a Facebook page, which is Black Sheep Baggers. Then they have the fan group, which is Black Sheep Baggers Fan Group, which we believe that's actually run by the company, though, so it's a little bit larger of a fan group, so that's pretty cool. And then lastly, we did find a rep that had his own page, which was Black Sheep Baggers Movement. So
something like that.
Yeah, a lot of Black Sheep Baggers in there, so you put that in your search bar and you're going to find them all.
Break-in method on these, we actually use Bagmanship for both of them, just obviously at different times. If you actually go to our page, there's an instructional video for Bagmanship, and we're using those Halloween edition sentence on it.
We're going to get right into the speeds here, and that's right where we start seeing some of the differences. So the original sentence bag had a way faster fast side, 9.5, 10 pretty much. Really hard keeping those on the boards. So we see that changed right away in the relaunch edition, and we're much more manageable, right around an 8.5 speed on that fast side. So that's a big difference you're going to notice right away with the relaunch edition versus the original sets.
Yeah, and they both had the herringbone too. We're all used to, but this was not our first white, but that white herringbone plays different, right?
Yeah, it always feels a little faster. I don't know if it's anecdotal or not, but the white definitely seems faster to me.
Speaking a little bit more about those materials that we touched on, like you said, the herringbone, that's the same for the slow side on each of them. We prefer the white. It's a little bit faster, a little bit easier for us to handle.
Yep.
The fast sides, though, this is that common sorcerer, shadow fast side. It's fast.
Very fast.
Sometimes you get nervous throwing that fast side because it is so fast. But then they went with the relaunch, and this would be the same exact fast side you'd see on the Wizard. So this is actually a Wizard clone with different fill inside of it.
Going into the fill and flop here, one thing, the template didn't change much with these bags at all. It's about exactly the same, so there's no variation.
Yeah, they measured and weighed about the same, so they didn't change any of that.
Yep. And neither bag is overly floppy, to me.
I don't think so either. No, definitely not the new relaunch ones.
Right.
But it's got the RTR resin in it, which is the Rolltech resin. So there's some beads in there. As a sentence, we felt mainly just small, flat fill.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, yeah.
So it's going to kind of feel a little bit thinner, as this is a little bit fuller when you grip it in your hand.
A little bit, but neither one feel too floppy. You would have heard me complain about it because I don't like the floppy bags. So, all right, so just cover the bagmanship. We haven't played a lot of Black Sheep baggers, but what we've seen, the quality's been great. No untrimmed seams or anything like that. The original sentence, like we mentioned before, could just be related to the fast side material, but we did get one that started getting a little loose. You could start seeing the part that's not dyed that was sewn in there. Other than that, really, no quality issues. Pretty great bagmanship.
Yeah, it's either loose or they just didn't.
Just not a great stitch.
Cover up the white material as well.
Yeah.
Leads us into the slide up, and we're going to start with forgiveness, like always. So the relaunch, the RTR bags. I mean, they were a little bit more forgiving than I almost thought they were going to be. When you hear a bag that has roll tech resin in it, you think it's just going to be all big beats, super active. You're not going to be able to control it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it did kick a little bit on us. But when it kicks, that means you can cut it, and supposedly you're supposed to be able to roll these too. But I was actually pleasantly surprised. And the big thing about it is when I flipped it over, it was way more forgiving than the regular sentence because I wasn't worried about it just flying off the back of the board.
I completely agree with that. I was pleasantly surprised with, the forgiveness of the bag because like you originally, I thought, I'm like, oh, okay, Rule Tech, resin and a herringbone, it sounds like,
a disaster.
Yeah, like
for
the
us.
worst bag designed, the opposite of being designed for me, right? It's not a huge fan of, the herringbone and then the roll because I'm not good at those type of moves. But yeah, overall, I got a few kicks here and there, but I felt in control with that bag. I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm. And now the whole bodiness, and I mean, these bags were actually, they had real good whole bodiness to them.
Yeah, wasn't too bad.
Especially for a herringbone bag.
Yep.
I mean, most of the time herringbone bags, they want to just hang up on the hole. I think the white helped with that, but now you add those big beads in there, whatever's in their roll tech resin, and because they're not going to want to settle. So if you get close, you have a good chance of it just all caving over itself and falling right in that hole.
But yeah, I agree with you on that, Craig. The whole bodiness, ability to go in the hole is a lot better than I expected. I don't like herringbones because I struggle to, get those ones to just, fall in the hole. And these actually did a pretty good job, and I'm guessing it's because of the difference in resin.
Mm-hmm.
As far as collectability, not bad, but not great either. It does seem like with the RTR, they may, kind of bounce off each other a little bit more rather than just grab. It's kind of what I experienced with them.
Active resin, yeah. I mean, if it's going to be active on the boards, it's also going to be active, colliding with another bag.
Yep.
Yeah, and in the regular sentence, I mean, I had the shot of my lifetime with that bag. It was actual collect. Had, 3 bags sprinkled in the front of the hole. I hope I find this. And then my 4th bag collected all of them. All 4 went in the hole.
Yeah.
I show Cooper clips of that every night. Right before I tuck him in the bed, I'll be like, look what your dad did.
Yeah, I remember that shot, though, because I was surprised because, with a herringbone type bag, getting to collect like that, all 4, that's tough. All right, so our final thoughts. The fast side, biggest change, that you noticed right away. I do believe that that's an improvement over, the original fast side. So I'm going to say I'm a fan of that. Still, we're not real sure why they did it as a relaunch or changed, just an existing bag. That does a lot of things, with a different fast side, a whole different, mix fill. There's so many bags that have these materials, like, why not just launch a whole new series rather than
That's
just
what I was thinking,
recreate that one? And what are we going to do with these now? Though, somebody's playing those original sentences. They got used to them. They like them. Now, if they need the stamp on them going into the, continuing years, they're going to have to switch bags, maybe buy it from somebody else or start throwing a different bag. So I think that they should have, just created a new line rather than relaunch an existing bag and pretty much changed almost everything except for the slow side.
So now it's time for our overall rating, and we're not going to rate these bags. We're just going to rate the improvement. And 1.5 bagger, right? I don't know what that means. I think in my head, I'm thinking maybe the relaunch is 1.5 times better than the old ones just because of the fast side and the new active fill. But 1.5 bagger.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, at the end, do we recommend it? It's a great bag, great quality. Don't get us wrong there. I don't personally recommend it myself. I don't like herringbone; it's a big part of it. But for the $20 increase over the original bag, I don't see the value there. So if the cost of the bag is part of your decision making at all, then no, I'm not going to recommend these bags. If you like these materials, you like the original sentence, but you are looking to do more shots with it, potentially rolling, easier cut shots and stuff, then yes, I would recommend it in that aspect. So I guess that'll just end us with, hey, if you're going to be average at something, might as well be average at cornhole like us.